Doing a caliper and brake hose. Ram 2500 HD. Let's get started. Took the wheel off, 24 millimeter on the lug nuts. Sprayed PB Blaster on the brake hose that we're taking off this one. Just getting a little pre-soak done. We got a hold down right here on the brake line, 13 millimeter. Go ahead and take that off. Then the caliper bolts are 13 millimeter. On our new caliper, they're 12 millimeter. I'll get this bolt out, and then I'll get these two bolts loosened. Brake hose brackets off. Took the wheel speed sensor wire out of the little clips. Got the two caliper bolts out of there. Take a little screwdriver and pull back, and that'll compress the piston. And allow us to just pop it out real easily, like that. So we got a new mounting bracket with the caliper. So first thing we'll do is change that out. So we'll take these two bolts out of the back and bolt up that new caliper bracket. We got our bracket back on there. Pads set in place. Put a little grease on the ears of the pads, you know, just so they don't lock up. We get a lot of rust here in Michigan. And yeah, first thing we want to do is put that caliper on. We want to get that set in place because we want to make this brake hose change as quick as possible so you don't lose a lot of fluid. I've got my fitting cleaned off here. It's a 12 millimeter. I'm using a line wrench. That's what a line wrench looks like. Almost closed off. I got that set in place, soaked down. Let's get this caliper bolted back on. We're just going to slide the caliper right over there. It fits in one way, and then you put the other side on. It's got those little tabs. Let's see if you can see it right there. So it just fits in one way, and then you slide it on the other way. So let's get that on and get those two bolts bolted down. All right, front left side. Top of the caliper has to go in first on that ear, then you can slide the bottom in. We got our bolts tight. Loosen the bleeder. It was 10 millimeter on this one. Now we're gonna hook up our hose to this side. So we got our banjo bolt, new with our washers. So we're gonna slide this banjo bolt through the brake hose. Put the other copper washer on the other side and tighten it down like so, with the angle pointing up. We're going to tighten it down real good so those copper washers seal. Not too tight that you snap it off in there or strip out the threads, but real nice and tight. So let's get that hooked up. Okay. We've got our hose on, and we got this cracked free. You can see it smoking a little bit. I gave it just a little bit of heat, and then it cracked free. And all you want to do is crack it free. Now it's loose. Let's see here. Let's make sure she's still loose. Yep. Loosey-goosey. That's good. A little bit of brake fluke came out. That's fine. All right, so now we got to get that hose out of there. So now it's time to take this clip out. Now that that fitting's loose. So we're going to take this clip out. It pops straight backwards. They can be a pain sometimes. We'll spray it down a little more after she cools off. Pop that clip out and this hose will come straight down. And then we can take that fitting all the way off. Finger loose. And try to be quick about it and put it right back onto the new one. All right, let's do it. All right, so our bleeder screw's loose, everything's hooked up. Pop that clip out of there. I took a flat head and kind of worked the rust free in between the plate and the clip. Sprayed it down real good. And then I took some vice grips to the end of it, worked it. It was like this, worked it left and right and pulled back. It came out. It can be a little pesky. Then took a flathead screwdriver on the lip of the old brake hose and just gave it a little tap down till it broke free. It was rusted to the plate. So now we can take that fitting off. And this brake hose will just fall down. We'll pop that guy in there and get her connected hand tight so it stops leaking fluid as quick as possible. All right. We've got her all hooked up, nice and tight. I sprayed it down with some brake cleaner. That way when we pump the pedal, we can see if there's any leaks. Good idea to do it on that fitting too, just to make sure there's no leakage. So it's gravity bleeding right now. We're gravity bleeding right now. So now's the time to get a partner to pump up your brakes and bleed that. Have them hit the pedal. You close the bleeder. He releases the pedal. Open the bleeder back up. Have him pump the pedal. That way no air gets sucked back in. I'm just going to use a pressure bleeder. But there's all kinds of ways to bleed brakes. You'll figure her out. Lots of videos. I've got a video on it. So yeah, bleed the brake, throw the tire back on, check for leaks, and you're good to go.